Hello, my name is Jessie Hilger and I work with the NCAA Eligibility Center. Today we're going to discuss your path to the student-athlete experience. We don't have control over a lot of things in life, but one of the things you do have some control over is whether or not you meet the eligibility requirements to play sports at a Division I or II college or university. There's certain requirements that you must meet in order to play sports your freshman year in college. So we'll discuss how you register with the Eligibility Center and what requirements you have to meet to become eligible your freshman year in college. Talent can only take you so far. There are academic requirements that you must meet in order to participate. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about the steps you need to take to achieve your eligibility, the requirements. We'll talk about sports participation questionnaire you must fill out, which is also known as the amateur questionnaire. And I'll direct you to a lot of resources that you can use during your experience to help you through the process. Freshmen and sophomores must start planning now by working hard to get the best grades possible. We do not accept every course that you take in high school. We only accept certain core courses. Those core courses are submitted by your high school and are the only courses we will use in your evaluation to determine if you're eligible. To access those courses, you can go to our website, eligibilitycenter.org, enter the Student Athlete section. Under the Resources tab, there is a link to List of NCAA courses. There you can look up your high school by name and view the list of approved core courses that your high school has submitted and ensure that you are taking the courses off of that list because, again, those are the only courses that we will use in your evaluation. The other thing that you want to do is register with us on that same website, eligibilitycenter.org. You can register at any time, but we recommend registering at the beginning of your sophomore year because you'll start turning in information shortly thereafter. If you look at your list of approved core courses and realize you may be a little bit deficient or fall short, you can take additional courses in the summer to help you become eligible. We recommend taking courses in a traditional high school classroom setting or at a community college or junior college, but you may have the option of taking courses online as well, and we'll talk about how to ensure that you're taking appropriate online courses. It's really important, though, if you're planning on going to Division I, that you make up all the deficiencies, make sure you meet all of the requirements by the end of your senior year. So here's where you will go to register. Again, it's on eligibilitycenter.org. You'll click on the Student Athlete section, and you'll see in the upper right-hand corner an area where you can start a new registration. This is also the place where you can retrieve your password if you have forgotten that. And you'll see the tabs across the top, one including the Resource tab I just mentioned. We'll talk about a couple other tabs in a minute here. Juniors. When you register to take the SAT or ACT, there will be an area where you can enter 4-digit college codes to where you can have your test score sent directly from the testing agency at free of charge. There you can also enter the NCAA's code of 9999. Ensure you enter this code on every SAT or ACT test that you take. It is to your benefit to have every single test score sent in to us. The reason why is, for example, let's say you have 5 SAT test scores sent in to us. Out of all 5, we will take the highest English and the highest math score and add those two high numbers together to create a new super score that we will use in your evaluation. If you've already taken the SAT or ACT and did not put our code of 9999, you can go back to the testing agency and request that they send any previous test scores to us using that same code of what? 9999. Juniors also should ensure that you're still taking those NCAA-approved courses that you can locate online through the resources page on eligibilitycenter.org. Then, at the end of your junior year, you want to make sure you have your high school guidance counselor send us a transcript that covers your first 3 years of high school. That transcript must be sent in to us officially, which is through mail or through an electronic transcript service your high school may subscribe to. We do not accept unofficial transcripts which are sent by email or fax. Seniors, very exciting time of your life. Couple things to keep in mind. Ensure that you continue to take the SAT or ACT as many times as necessary and have those test scores sent in to us with their code of 9999. Also continue to take your 4-year college preparatory classes, choosing them off of your high school's list of approved NCAA courses. And for Division I, very important to graduate on time in 8 semesters. Division II is a little bit different, but we'll get into that in a little bit. When you register, you'll have a My Planner page where you can track receipt of transcripts, test scores, complete missing items, and eventually see whether or not you're eligible to participate in sports your freshman year at a Division I or II school. The NCAA only determines eligibility for your freshman year in college. After that, your Division I or II school determines eligibility from year to year based on your college grades and credits. Your college can also see your account and view if you've sent in transcripts and test scores and whether or not you are deemed eligible after you graduate from high school. So in your senior year, make sure that you are keeping track of what's missing and what needs to be sent in. That My Sports section is the amateur questionnaire where you will report all participation in sports outside of high school teams. So if you play basketball and you participate on an AAU team, make sure you report every AAU team you participate on. And then we'll prompt you in April to finalize that My Sports questionnaire, which essentially locks in your answers and allows us to start reviewing your information against the amateurism standards. Be sure to report all of your information so we can accurately review your account. And then after graduation, you'll want to have your high school guidance counselor send us a final transcript with all 4 years of coursework to the NCAA. Again, that must be sent through mail or through an electronic transcript service your high school may subscribe to. It cannot be faxed or emailed to the NCAA. The other thing is if you've attended multiple high schools during your high school career, ensure that you have a separate official transcript sent from each high school you've attended. If you've attended, say, 4 schools, we cannot accept all of the school's coursework off of your final transcript sent by your last high school. We must have a separate high school transcript sent from each high school attended. So let's get into the requirements. We talked about core courses. We talked about how your high school has a list of approved core courses that they submit to the NCAA. The types of courses that we are able to approve and use in your evaluation meet graduation requirements in one of the following areas: English, math, science, social studies, foreign language, comparative religion, which could be something like world religions, or philosophy. The course must be 4-year college preparatory, must be taught at your high school's regular academic level or higher, so it shouldn't be a remedial or a basic course. For math, it has to be at the level of Algebra 1 or higher, so we don't use pre-algebra, for instance, and it has to be taught by a qualified instructor. I mentioned previously how the NCAA prefers that you take courses through a traditional setting at a high school or at a community college, but we understand that some students must take coursework through non-traditional means. What are non-traditional courses? They can be courses that are taught on the internet, either online or virtual, distance learning, independent study, individualized instruction, correspondence, computer software programs, or most commonly known as credit recovery programs, or other similar means. Sorry, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I do see your questions coming through, and I will answer those at the end. Maybe I will answer them during the presentation. So if you must take a non-traditional course, what do you need to be aware of? Because not every non-traditional course is acceptable by the NCAA. There's certain requirements our Division I and II schools created under which we can accept non-traditional courses. So if you're thinking about going that route, you must ensure that there is ongoing access between the instructor and the student. There must be a defined time period for completion. So, for instance, you can't complete a course in, say, 2 days. The program must require, say, a minimum of 6 weeks for you to complete the course, if not longer. If you take a non-traditional course while you're in high school, that should be clearly identified as a non-traditional course on your high school transcript. And again, it must be 4-year college preparatory and be comparable in content, length, and rigor. How do you know what kind of non-traditional programs are approved by the NCAA? Well, if you go to our website, eligibilitycenter.org, where you will register, again under the Resources tab, you'll go to List of NCAA courses, and you can look up your state, and then for the school name, simply type in online or virtual, and it will give you any available list of virtual online programs that are offered in that state. When you further click on the online or virtual program, it will tell you whether or not we have approved the program. So if you must go an online or a non-traditional manner, make sure the program you are taking is approved and that you are choosing a course off of the school's list of approved core courses, because those are the only courses we will use. So I mentioned how important it is for Division I that you graduate on time in 8 semesters. And here's the reason why. If you must take additional courses after you graduate from high school for Division I to become eligible for sports your freshman year in college, we can only use courses taken after graduation if you've graduated on time in 4 years with your class. On time also means that if your high school graduation takes place, say on June 1st, you must graduate on June 1st. If your class graduates on June 1st and your transcript says June 10th, that's not considered an on-time graduation, and therefore you would not be able to take any courses after graduation to try to become eligible for Division I. Division II is totally different. For Division II, the NCAA will consider using any core course that you take prior to full-time enrollment in any college or university. So therefore, you do not have to graduate on time. If you say go 5 years of high school, we'll review all 5 years of high school to determine whether or not you meet the eligibility requirements. But again, for Division I, you must graduate on time in 4 years or 8 semesters in order to take any coursework after you graduate to try to become eligible for NCAA purposes. So what are the requirements? Of course, you have to graduate from high school. You have to complete a certain number of NCAA approved courses, earn a minimum core course GPA, and earn a required SAT or ACT sum score. There is an opportunity for you to become eligible even before you graduate from high school. It is something called early academic certification. After your junior year, you're going to have your high school send us in a transcript. You're going to have your SAT or ACT test score sent in to us so that in your senior year we can perform an evaluation. And if you meet the listed requirements, you could be deemed a qualifier during your senior year. So that all you'd have to worry about your senior year is getting recruited, making sure you graduate, and having your high school send us a final transcript after graduation. That also exists for Division II. The requirements are a little bit different, but it is based off of your first 3 years of high school for both Division I and Division II. For a majority of other students, we'll do your final evaluation to determine if you're eligible after you graduate from high school and your high school sends us a final transcript. For Division I, you have to meet 16 core courses. You see the breakdown here. 4 years of English, 3 years of math, Algebra 1 or higher, 2 years of science, 1 additional year of English, math, or science above and beyond the requirements already listed, 2 years of social studies, which is the same thing as social science, and then 4 years of additional courses from any category above, so English, math, science, social studies, or foreign language, or comparative religion or philosophy. Division I operates off of a sliding scale. This is the current sliding scale. So you'll see that you have to match up your SAT sum score or ACT sum score with your GPA. You'll see that the ACT score is really high. At one point on the scale, it goes up to an 86, and the ACT sum score doesn't even go up that high typically. What we do is we add the 4 main components of the ACT together. We add the English, the reading, the math, and the science to create a new number that we use in your evaluation. Again, this is why it's really important to have every test score sent in to us, because if you have, say, 4 ACT test scores sent in to us, we'll take the highest English, the highest reading, the highest math, and the highest science scores, and add those 4 numbers together to create a new super score. So for instance, if you look at the sliding scale and you have a core GPA of a 2.0, that GPA is only in the 16 core courses we will use for Division I from your high school's list of approved core courses. With that 2.0 core GPA, you'll see that you need a 1010 SAT score that's combining your highest English and your highest math score on the SAT, or an 86 ACT sum score. You'll see the higher your GPA, the lower the required test score. So, for those students who are currently sophomores, by the time you enter college in 2016, the requirements will slightly change for Division I. Let's talk about what requirements will change. So we saw the sliding scale right now is a minimum requirement of a 2.0 core GPA. That will increase to a 2.3 for students wanting to compete their freshman year at a Division I school. There is a very minor change in the rest of the sliding scale where the GPA test score increases. And a big change is by the start of your senior year, you must have 10 core courses locked in, 7 of them in English, math, or science. Why is that requirement in place? Right now, there are many students who, in their senior year, try to take a lot of repeated courses to increase their core GPA. Our Division I schools got together and created legislation to try to prevent that from happening by having their 10 core courses locked in by your senior year. Those core courses cannot be repeated to earn higher grades. That's why it's very important to work hard and earn the best grades possible right now. Let's get into more detail about these changes. Division I is changing from just having a qualifier where you meet the requirements and a non-qualifier, which currently exists, to 3 separate options. One being qualifier, where you meet the 16 core courses, you have the 10 core courses locked in, 7 of them in English, math, or science by the start of your senior year, and you have the required 2.3 minimum and required SAT or ACT sum score. Being a qualifier allows you to compete your freshman year at a Division I school, receive athletic scholarship, and practice for your first year at that school. Some students may not meet all of the requirements outlined. If you do not have, say, the 10 core courses locked in by the start of your senior year, but you have the 16 core courses when you graduate, and you have the required GPA and test score, you may be eligible to be an academic redshirt your freshman year at a Division I school. What that means is you can receive athletic financial aid your first year at a Division I school, and you can practice for the first semester at that Division I school. Your Division I school will then determine if you can practice the second semester based on your freshman first semester grades and credits. And then, of course, there is the non-qualifier. So if you don't meet the 16 core courses, if you don't have the required GPA or ACT or SAT test score, if you don't have the 10 core courses locked in, you'll be a non-qualifier, which means you cannot receive athletics financial aid your freshman year at a Division I school. You cannot practice, and you cannot compete. And there are even some Division I schools who have rules that if you come into the school as a non-qualifier, you can never participate for them. So it's very important to try to meet these requirements. The breakdown of the 16 core courses for students enrolling in the fall of 2016 at a Division I school are still the same as they are today. Still 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 2 years of science, 1 additional year of English, math, or science, 2 years of social studies, and 4 additional credits in any subject area above, foreign language, philosophy, or comparative religion. So we'll get into the minor changes and the increase in the GPA and the ACT or SAT score needed for the 2016 Division I requirements. We did talk about the 10 core courses that are locked in by the start of your senior year for Division I. Again, 7 are in the area of English, math, or science. But I'll tell you what, if you configure your schedule where you're taking 4 years of English, 4 years of math, 4 years of science, 4 years of social studies, you're going to meet the requirements. That's 16 core courses right there. Just as long as you ensure the courses you're taking are off of your high school's list of approved core courses that you can access on eligibilitycenter.org under the resources page. And again, remember, when those 10 core courses are locked in, they cannot be repeated to earn higher grades to try to become eligible. So if you don't have the 10 core courses locked in by the start of your senior year for 2016 Division I requirements, the best you can become is an academic redshirt, where you can practice your first semester at a Division I school and receive athletics financial aid. Here's a comparison of the old scale versus the new scale. The new scale, you'll see, with a 740, on the new scale you need a 2.7. On the old scale with a 740, you needed a 2.675. So it's just a very minor increase. You'll see that the new scale for 2016 Division I students, there still exists a 2.0, but you must have a minimum of a 2.3 in order to compete. If you have anything less than that, the best you can become is an academic redshirt if your ACT or SAT test score aligns with your GPA below a 2.3. And remember, that's your core GPA off of the 16 core courses that we can accept. We've talked about the academic redshirt requirements. Again, the 16 core courses are still the same as we've already discussed, same as they are now and same as they are for a full qualifier in 2016. We just talked about the GPA. You can earn less than a 2.3 core GPA in those 16 core courses, but at best, you'll be an academic redshirt for Division I. We've talked about the limitations of being an academic redshirt. Again, you may have the 16 core courses. You may have a 3.0 and a 1200 SAT, but if you don't have the 10 core courses locked in by the start of your senior year, you cannot be a full qualifier. At best, you can be an academic redshirt. Again, here's an example of the sliding scale. For academic redshirt, it shows you if you have even a 2.299, that's very, very close to a 2.3. But if you don't have that 2.3, if you have a 2.299 or lower, the best you can become is an academic redshirt. So strive to do your best in your 16 core courses. And if you do have to repeat courses and you're enrolling in 2016 at a Division I school, make sure you complete that before the start of your senior year. This talks about the requirements for an academic redshirt. So if you meet the outlined requirements we just talked about, you can receive an athletic scholarship during your first year at an NCAA Division I college or university. After the first term is complete, your college will determine if you can practice your second semester depending on the credits or hours that you earn in college. So you must successfully complete 9 semester hours or 8 quarter hours in each applicable term at your college or university to continue to practice for the remainder of the year. If you have additional questions about this once you're being recruited by a Division I school, if you're enrolling in the fall of 2016, definitely talk to your college or university about that. But hopefully you all will meet the full requirements to practice, compete, and receive athletics financial aid your freshman year at a Division I school starting in the fall of 2016. Again, I cannot stress enough, if you don't meet the 16 core course requirements, if you don't have the right GPA and ACT or SAT test score, if you don't have the 10 core courses locked in, then you are a non-qualifier. You cannot receive athletics financial aid your freshman year in college at a Division I school, and you cannot compete or practice during your first year at a college or university. And as I mentioned before, there are even some Division I schools out there that if you enter their school as a non-qualifier, you are never eligible to compete for them. Division II also has 16 core course requirements, but the breakdown is a little bit different. Division I requires 4 years of English, whereas Division II requires 3 years of English. Division II also requires 2 years of math, algebra 1 or higher, whereas Division I requires 3 years of math, algebra 1 or higher. Both divisions require 2 years of science, but Division II requires 3 additional years of English, math, or science above and beyond what is already listed. 2 years of social studies, and then 4 years of the additional courses that can be from any core area listed, or foreign language, comparative religion, or philosophy. Make sure you check your high school's list of NCAA courses to figure out which courses are approved for your school. Division II is a little bit different as well because there is no sliding scale. There is just set minimums that students must meet. In those 16 core courses, you must have at least a 2.0 core GPA or better, earn an SAT score of 820, that's only in the English and math, we do not accept writing, and then, or you can earn an ACT sum score of a 68. Again, we don't accept writing for ACT either. But those are just set minimums, no sliding scale. We talked about every time you take the SAT or ACT, you must enter our code of 9999 to have the test score sent in to us. Again, if you've already taken the SAT or ACT and did not put our code, you can contact SAT or ACT at any time and request that they send your test scores to our code of 9999. Test scores printed on transcripts or faxed into us or emailed into us will not be used. They must come to us directly from the testing agency using that code. What is it? 9999. Here's an example of what I explained earlier as far as us using the best scores out of every test score sent in to us to create a super score. You'll see for this student, for the SAT taken in October of 2012, the student earned a verbal score of 470. That's also the English section. And the next SAT they took in December of 2012, they earned a higher math score with a 420. So we add the 420 math score plus the 470 verbal to get an 890 super score. And you can see that's much higher than the other two total scores earned individually on the other tests. Division III, I saw this question come through. Unlike Division I and II, there are no set eligibility requirements for Division III schools. Division III schools do not offer athletic financial aid. That's why students do not have to come through the Eligibility Center to determine if they're eligible. You must talk with your Division III school about requirements for admission, financial aid, practice, and competition. We do not perform evaluations for students wanting to go to a Division III school. How would you know whether or not your school is a Division I, II, or III school that you're looking at? If you go to the website where you're registering, eligibilitycenter.org, at the top there is a sports tab that you can click on and look up your sport. You will then be able to search which Division I, II, and III schools offer your sport. So check there if you're unsure whether your school is Division I or II. And if it's Division III, do not worry about registering with the Eligibility Center. That is reserved only for students wanting to go to a Division I or II college or university. So I mentioned when you register, you're going to fill out a My Sports questionnaire concerning your sports participation outside of high school. This is also known as your amateur questionnaire. Please ensure throughout your high school career that you are updating your amateur questionnaire as often as needed, depending on new sports teams you participate on, whether or not you've been awarded prizes or benefits. Make sure that you update that as often as necessary. And if you're unsure whether or not something will affect your eligibility, call us. We'd be happy to help you. The other thing to mention is that when you register, you do sign an ethical conduct agreement, stating that you will report all athletics participation. So make sure you do that so no negative consequences will be present. So to sum it up, we now know student athletes who meet all initial eligibility requirements may practice, compete, and receive athletics financial aid their freshman year at a Division I or II college or university. We have tons of resources available on eligibilitycenter.org. We have a guide that provides lots of helpful information, reiterates the requirements, provides Division I and II worksheets that you and your parents and your high school guidance counselors can fill out to ensure you're on track. There's also a quick reference sheet that provides the breakdown of the requirements you have to meet, and a brochure. And of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to call us at the number listed, 877-262-1492, and our customer service team would be glad to help. I'll take any questions now. One question I got is, what is the largest college sport? That really depends on the division that you're wanting to attend. For more information, I would direct you to our sports section on eligibilitycenter.org. Another good question is, are there different requirements for different sports? Great question. No, there are not different requirements for different sports. Every student athlete, no matter what the sport you are in, must meet the same requirements that we went over. Some sports are not sponsored by the NCAA, like cheerleading. So make sure you go to the sports section on eligibilitycenter.org to ensure that your sport is an NCAA-sponsored sport before registering. Another good question. If you don't qualify for athletic aid your first semester, do you still have a chance to qualify it for the next semester? So what this would mean is, if you're a non-qualifier, you cannot practice, compete, or receive athletic financial aid at all your first year, your freshman year of college. So unfortunately, no, there's not a way, if you're a non-qualifier, to get aid your second semester as a freshman at a Division I or II school. Another question I have is, what is an official visit and what is an unofficial visit? Unofficial visits are where you and your parents or guardians go to a college, Division I or II school, just to look around, visit the campus, maybe say hi to the coach, express your interest in participating in sports. It's something that you and your parents or guardians pay for by yourself. You can take them at any time during high school, and an unlimited amount of visits you can take, unofficial visits you can take. Now, an unofficial visit starts the first day of your senior year of high school. It is where a Division I or II school invites you to come on campus, talk with the coaches, get a tour of the campus, so on and so forth. That visit is paid for you to go out there. For Division I, you are limited to 5 official visits, and you cannot repeat a visit at the same school. For Division II, you have unlimited amount of official visits that you can take. If you want more information on recruiting, I would definitely recommend that you go to our website, eligibilitycenter.org, and access the guide that I showed you. At the back, starting on page 21, is lots of information about recruiting. It talks about dead period, quiet period. It also breaks down by high school year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, what you and the coaches are and are not allowed to do. So please access that guide for more recruiting information. The other thing with official visits, where your college pays for you to come, is you have to make sure that you're registered with the Eligibility Center, and your college will require you to send them a transcript and possibly test scores. So make sure you check with the college to ensure they have everything they need for you to go on the visit. Another question is, if I get admitted into college, do I still have to register with eligibilitycenter.org? Yes, you do. Just because you're admitted into a Division I or II school doesn't mean that you'll be able to play sports. The admission requirements are completely separate than the eligibility requirements. So even if you've already been admitted into college, you also must register with the Eligibility Center to determine if you meet the athletic requirements to play sports your freshman year in college at a Division I or II school. Another question, are plus and minus grades used when calculating my core course GPA? No, they are not. We do not use plus and minuses. So if you receive a B plus, we're going to count that as a B. Or if you receive a C minus, we'll count that as a C. Another question, are pass-fail grades used? So if you take a class for pass-fail and you get a pass for the class, as long as the course is on your transcript with that pass grade indicated and credit, and the course is on your list of approved core courses, we can consider using that in your evaluation. But please note, when you get a grade of pass, we will use your high school's lowest passing grade, which is typically a D. Another question, are middle school, junior high school courses used to meet the Division I and II standards? Yes, they are. As long as they appear on your high school transcript with grade and credit, and the course appears on your high school's list of approved core courses, we will be able to consider those in your evaluation. They must be high school courses taken while in middle school or junior high school, though. The last question I have is, are there any resources for high school guidance counselors, coaches, or other high school administrators? Yes, there is. Same website, eligibilitycenter.org. There is a section for high school administrators, and there is a resources page that has a wealth of knowledge about the requirements that must be met, responsibilities of the guidance counselor in helping students through this process, and other additional helpful information. Thank you all for listening today, and again, if you have any questions, please call the NCAA Eligibility Center at 877-262-1492. Good luck.